45 people dead after strange disease hits Kano community. Kaduna State Assembly sets up committee to probe El-Rufai. Military airstrike killed 30 terrorist kingpins fighters in Borno. On the foreign scene, Israeli attack on Gaza police vehicle kills 8 persons. Good evening and welcome to the news hour. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. We start in Kano, where at least 45 individuals have died due to an outbreak of a mysterious disease in Gunduse village, located in Kura local government area of Kano State. According to residents, the majority of the victims are women, children, and elderly, exhibiting symptoms such as malaria, diarrhea, and vomiting. Trust TV's Idris Jibril, who visited the area, tells us more.
Abu Sani is one of the residents who lost 2 children. He says frequent deaths in the village were first observed about 2 weeks ago, during which the resident thought it was just normal death arising from usual illness. But it became disturbing when the community started burying 5 people a day. My first son, who was about 2 years old, started having malaria problem. And this malaria problem that he started having, within a short period of time, I went to the hospital with him. Within few hours, he died. After 1 week, the other one also started having malaria problem. I also took him to the hospital. He died within 2 hours. And as of today, as I'm talking to you, we have lost about 44 people. And yesterday, another person died. We buried him, which brought the number to 45 people that died in this village. A visit to the Gunduse dispensary clinic shows that the clinic officials have so far documented 20 deaths. One of the health workers at the clinic, who prefers anonymity, said they have already reported the incident to the Ministry of Health and that so far, water and blood samples have been collected for laboratory testing to ascertain the real cause of the illness. They are saying it's an outbreak that strike this town of frequent death of mostly Almajiri, women, children, and the elderly. And so far, I know about 40 people died in this village as of today. Although government is yet to release the results of the tests conducted, but it is believed that poor environmental hygiene in Gunduse village may likely be the reason for the disease, because it is believed that the water in some part of the village may have been contaminated. This kind of problem that is happening in our town, we don't know what it is because we are not health workers to conclude the actual disease that is disturbing our people. And even me, as you see me here, my daughter was among the people that died in this community. And as my friend just told you, we have lost at least 45 people in this village from the beginning of fasting to today. While confirming the incident, interim chairman of Kura Local Government Council, Tijanu Kura, denies the report that 45 people have died, saying that so far only 3 children died and that they are working hard to identify the cause of the problem. The people from the Ministry of Health have came and they have taken water samples and blood samples, and up till now we are waiting for the test. But what we believe here is that the change of weather may likely be responsible for this kind of problem that the people of Gunduse are experiencing. And it's not that worse as people are saying, because so far I know the number of people that died are between 3 to 4 people. Contrary to the local authorities' claim, Trust TV, who was escorted to one of the burial grounds in the village, counted 35 fresh graves, 6 of which are children, as explained by one of the community members at the cemetery. From the beginning of Ramadan to today, We are estimating the loss of about 45 people in this community, and we cannot explain to you the real cause of this incident. Meanwhile, when contacted, Kano State Commissioner for Health Abubakar Labaran Yusuf said he is yet to receive official report from local government health officers, but investigation is ongoing to find out what is really happening in Gunduse village. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
And to Zamfara State, where gunmen suspected to be bandits have killed Musa Ile, the secretary of the People's Democratic Party in Safe local government area of Zamfara State. The victim was fatally attacked in front of his house when assailants invaded his residence on Monday night. Garba Garewa, the PDP chairman in Safe local government area, confirmed this development on Tuesday. According to a resident of the area, the gunman lured the secretary outside by claiming there was something to check at the back of his residence. Unaware of the danger, the victim stepped outside only to encounter armed bandits. The police is yet to confirm this development. Elsewhere, troops of the Nigerian military attached to Operation Hadinkai in northeast Nigeria have neutralized more terrorist commanders and over 30 members in the Lake Chad region of Borno State. It was learned, according to a report, that the air component of the operation rained airstrikes on the adversaries following the terrorists' refusal to surrender their weapon and ammunition to the military after a series of appeals by the authority and community leaders. At least 50 terrorists and their commanders have been taken out by the Nigerian military across all theater of operations, particularly in the northwest and in the northeast in 1 year. Now, the military high command last month declared high-profile terrorist commanders, including Simon Ekpa, the notorious leader of the proscribed IPOB, wanted over the nefarious activities. Now, the spokesperson of the Nigerian Air Force, Edward Gapwet, who confirmed this to journalists in Abuja, explains that the terrorists' numerous vehicles, motorcycles, and logistical assets were destroyed in the operation. Gapwet, an Air Vice Marshal, says the air troops executed a precision airstrike on the hideouts of ISWAP terrorists nestled within Koleram village along the shores of Lake Chad. The Nasarawa state government has taken a decisive action by proscribing all ethnic vigilante groups operating across the 13 local government areas of the state. In addition, the state government has also issued a 2-week ultimatum for affected vigilante groups to surrender their uniforms and weapons to the state police in Nasarawa. Shehu Nadada, acting on the advice of the State Security Council and citing the authority vested in him by Section 97A of the Penal Code and other relevant laws, the governor of Nasarawa State, Abdullahi Sule, has specifically banned the Fulani ethnic vigilante group known as the Kungiyar Zaman Lafiya Basa Vigilante Group and Egong Vigilante Group in the state. Now, through Executive Order 1 of 2024 issued on Tuesday, the Nasarawa state government has prohibited any association, movement, organization, or society affiliated with these groups operating under the guise of ethnic vigilante. Meanwhile, reports from Trust TV indicate that Bello Bodejo, the detained president of Miyetti Allah Kautal Hore, has denied linking Nasarawa state governor Abdullahi Sule to his security-related issues. In other news, tertiary psychological support for victims of abductions has been recognized as crucial in addressing the trauma that may result from such harrowing incidents. Now, Trust TV's Bello Musa reports that members of Kuriga community are currently receiving support to help them cope with the psychosocial trauma stemming from the recent abduction of their children. His report.
After the Kuriga abduction, the entire community was exposed to trauma which experts say needed to be addressed. The reunion of the school children with their parents after release brought relief to the community. However, psychiatrists say People who experienced such ugly incident may likely have post-traumatic disorder if nothing is done to avoid it.
Or they will not start sleeping early. They will keep, thinking about the whole incident. When they finally fall asleep, they would have dreams of the event, which would make the sleep largely unrefreshing. They may wake up multiple times. So they would have problems with sleep, problems with appetite, problems with even living, being happy or being satisfied with life. And this is a complex condition that requires expert management.
Sitting in this hall are parents and other stakeholders at Kuriga community who had experienced trauma after the abduction of their children by bandit. Here, they will be equipped with psychosocial training on how to help their community overcome the challenges posed by incidents like abduction.
You see, this program is to provide psychosocial support to the participants and go down to Kuriga community, facilitate the parents and the learners, and provide resilience to the community as a whole.
Alhamdulillahi, duk da mun shiga cikin damuwa da bakin ciki da tashin hankalin faruwan daga daukan har zuwa.
While we are dealing with the trauma of the death of our brother, we are hopeful that this will ease our pains and help us support his family. Our children must continue with their education. Though some of the children are still battling with trauma, it is, however, gradually reducing. We will use what we have learned here to enlighten our community.
We have started reading about how to be a resilient community that will ensure that what happened does not discourage parents from sending their children to school. The Commissioner, Kaduna State Ministry of Human Services and Social Development, Hajia Rabi Salisu, said the knowledge of psychosocial support given to the parents is expected to be passed to the affected children and the larger community.
As you know, after repatriating these children back to their communities, the state government needs a follow-up. This is in terms and conditions and the mandate of the Ministry of Human Services and Social Development, Kaduna State, to make sure that the follow-up has to do with mental and psychosocial support of this parent.
According to the UNICEF and the Kaduna State government, this is a follow-up to the reunion of the children with their parents, adding that it will provide mental and psychosocial support to the parent in the community. Bella Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
In a similar vein, Saratu Ayuba, one of the 128 rescued Chibok schoolgirls from Borno State, is urging concerted efforts from relevant authorities to rescue the remaining 89 girls who are allegedly still in captivity. She said the plea in Yola, she made the plea in Yola, Adamawa State, on the sidelines of an event commemorating the 10th anniversary of the Chibok schoolgirls' abduction. Salis Lawan has more.
Even before the Chibok schoolgirls were kidnapped a decade ago, the educational aspirations of girls in northern Nigeria are limited. Stakeholders believed concrete steps must be taken to address the root cause of conflict, extremism and violence against the women and girls, including widespread poverty, insecurity, and lack of economic opportunities. While the experiences of fugitives and freed people vary, Saratu Ayuba shares her personal experiences after adoption.
10 years ago, we were seated in our hostels, living life as usual, not knowing the tragic incidents that will soon change our destinies. I stand before you all as a testament that indeed, where there is life, there is hope. For these 3 years, we grappled and waited for the light at the end of the tunnel, with the present days being an actualization of our faith.
Usually about a month later we celebrate the release day, which is a more upbeat, exciting type of party day. But this one's more of a solemn opportunity to hear poems, reflections, and to really pray and to be thinking about those that are still in the Sambisa forest, because it's not acceptable. They need to be home with their parents, and they need to be here with the family. And these sisters here cry and pray for them all the time. So it's touched my heart for over a decade, even in America, before I came here.
After their freedom, the government promised to provide them with educational opportunities. Of the 128 people, about 100 are undergoing various stages of training.
The chosen one, the one with the destiny to change the world. They forgot that my destiny is Psalm chapter 138, and the Lord will accomplish all that concerns me. They forgot that I am a winner.
Following this abduction, the Nigerian government doubled its efforts to improve security and address broader issues of terrorism and insecurity in the country. Through these concerted efforts, the government secured the release and rescue of 108 of the abducted schoolgirls.
A recent study by the United Nations in Nigeria found out that the security flaws that lead to the Chibok kidnapping a decade ago continue in many schools with minimal security standards such as perimeter fencing and security. Silas Lawan, Trust TV News, Yola.
While staying in Adamawa State, the state governor, Amadou Umaru Fintri, has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to tackling anyone found supporting the notorious Sheila boys or their activities in the state. The governor's pledge follows a tragic incident where an 18-year-old suspect fatally stabbed his friend during a dispute in Yola. The governor, who was represented by his deputy, Kaletafua Farauta, emphasized the state government's commitment in collaborating with security agencies to put an end to the activities of Sheila boys across Adamawa State.
In recent times, few days, there have been some heightened activities of Sheila boys around some of our local government areas. To plead with our youths to use their energies for what is good for their future and also for their parents. And also to call on parents not to hide or not to condone our youths when they get engaged in things that are not honorable. As parents, we should be very careful so that our children grow up to be leaders of tomorrow. So it is on behalf of the governor we are making this call today that we should please ensure that our children are at the right place at the right time and they are not engaging in things that are not allowed by law.
Now, Fulani settlers in Ogun State have voiced their distress over attacks on their settlements by miscreants, who they claim also set their shelters ablaze and vandalized their properties and food supplies. Jafaru Isa, the leader of the Fulani residing in Ikilala Shimawa area of Shagamu, alleged that despite reporting the matter to the police on 3 separate occasions, they have yet to see any investigation into the matter. Trust TV's Abbas Ibrahim Dalibi has more.
The headers decried what they describe as negligence on the part of the police in investigating the attack and burning of their settlement by some miscreants who were escorted by some gunmen. According to Isa, although they were given 2 weeks to vacate the area, they could not salvage anything as the miscreants returned to demolish the place much earlier than 2-week ultimatum. They burnt all our belongings, including our foodstuffs and my 350 naira cash, which I got recently from selling my cow. Amina, another victim, disclosed that they were attacked on 17th of March during the Ramadan, adding that all their belongings were set ablaze. She lamented that they celebrate Eid al-Fitr in hunger with nothing to rejoice about. The very day they attacked us, 2 of our women who were heavily pregnant delivered babies. As we later found out, since they had no shelter, rain fell on the newborn babies and their mothers. And as I speak to you now, they are all sick and we don't have money to take them to the hospital. We need the government and other public spirited individuals to help us and also investigate this matter. They also disclosed that it was the owner of the land, one Emmanuel, who fenced it and asked them to build their house on it, pending on when he will use the land, adding that despite that assurance, we still evicted them on a short notice. When contacted, the spokesperson of the Ogun State Police, Omolola Odutola, said although she is not aware of the incident, the herders, according to her, are residing in shanties, which is unlawful, as they are illegal structures that breed criminals. Abbas Ibrahim Alibi, Trust TV, Lagos.
To politics now, the People's Democratic Party caucus in the House of Representatives has issued a 3-month ultimatum to the federal government to address the pervasive issue of insecurity plaguing various parts of the country. This call follows a comprehensive closed-door meeting that lasted about 3 hours, during which key concerns regarding the unity of the party were deliberated upon as the House prepares for resumption of plenary. Speaking after the meeting, the minority leader and the leader of the caucus, Kingsley Chinda, emphasized that if tangible actions are not taken within the stipulated 3-month period, the caucus will embark on sensitization and mobilization efforts to empower Nigerians to take charge of their own security. Honorable Chinda called on party leaders to exhibit unwavering loyalty to the PDP, enabling it to assume leadership at the national level. He also reiterated the caucus's unwavering unity and commitment to fulfilling its role as a watchdog on behalf of the Nigerian people.
We can no longer take this situation where Nigeria is today almost tagged as one life, 1 minute silence. The government is therefore called upon to immediately take steps to ensure that the security situation in the country is normalized. And the caucus has also given 3 months ultimatum for government to normalize the security situation in our country. After 3 months, the caucus will take further steps to sensitize and mobilize Nigerians to perhaps take their security into their hands. The House of Representatives caucus also agreed to call on all party caucuses, the Board of Trustees, National Executive Committee, and the National Working Committee of the party to embark on reconciliatory measures with the view to resolve all litigations that are pending and that has hindered the party in any way whatsoever from having a substantive national chairman.
The National Emergency Management Agency, in partnership with the Katsina State Emergency Management Agency, has undertaken the distribution of relief materials to vulnerable families across the state. Over 1,750 beneficiaries, carefully selected from among the extreme poor and individuals with special needs in the state, have received food items and other essential commodities to support their livelihood. Abdullahi Ahmadi tells us more.
One interesting thing about this exercise is the careful selection of beneficiaries across poor and vulnerable families, as well as people with special needs, which is the first of its kind in the state's recent history. The beneficiaries were also moved by the number of relief materials given to them, saying they will help reduce the burden of poverty and make their lives easier, at least for some days.
We are very appreciative for the Executive Director of SEMA, Haji Bint Hussein Angani, and the government in general in Katsina State for providing these items for we disabled in general here in Katsina.
On its part, The Katsina State government appreciates King Salman Relief and Humanitarian Aid Center for its support to people of the state, saying the gesture complements the numerous efforts it's been making to improve the livelihood of its people. The Executive Secretary of the State Emergency Management Agency, Sema Binte Dangani, extended the state government's appreciation to the donor and the federal government for their unrelenting support to people affected by disasters and other vulnerable groups.
Similarly, the less privileged members of our society deserve our unwavering support and assistance by extending a helping hand to those in need. We can create a more inclusive and compassionate society where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
In the same vein, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, through its Director General Zubaida Umar said, the Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led federal government has approved the release of 42,000 metric tons of assorted grains to all 774 local governments in the country. This is an intervention to vulnerable population as identified by the Multidimensional Poverty Index of the National Bureau of Statistics.
Each household is expected to have 59.8 kilogram basket of food items, consisting of 25 kg of rice, 25 kg of beans, 4 kg of Masa Vita flour, 2 liters of vegetable oil, 2 kg of tomato paste, 0.8 kg of seasoning cubes, and 1 kg of salt.
Public commentators suggest more proactive measures to support vulnerable and poor families by the way of removing barriers to health, education, and other socio-economic indices, which will go a long way in making their lives easier. Abdullahi Izuma Yamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Now to Kaduna State, where the House of Assembly has established a committee tasked to scrutinizing the financial records of the state during the tenure of Nasir El-Rufai, the immediate past governor of the state. This committee has been specifically mandated to examine loans, grants, and projects implementation from 2015 to 2023, the duration of El-Rufai's tenure as governor. Governor Obasani has revealed on March 30th that his administration inherited a substantial debt of $587 million, 85 billion naira, and 115 contractual liabilities from the immediate past administration. During a town hall meeting, the governor emphasized that his administration has not taken any new borrowing in the past 9 months. However, he expressed concern that the significant debt burden is severely impacting Kaduna State's share of its monthly federation allocation. In other related news, the Kano State Anti-Corruption and Public Complaints Commission has announced fresh charges of corruption and maladministration against the former governor of the state, Abdullahi Ganduje. The commission alleges that the Ganduje government withdrew 1 billion naira from the state coffers monthly leading up to the expiration of its tenure in May of 2023. It claims in the charges that these monies were transferred to bureau de change operators instead of being used for its intended purpose of road renovation. Despite being appointed by Ganduje to head the agency, the chairman of the Anti-Graft Commission, Magaji Muhi, has asserted his commitment to prosecuting alleged corruption by the Ganduje administration. Meanwhile, the Kano High Court is set to arraign Ganduje on Wednesday, April 17, 2024 on charges related to bribery, diversion, and misappropriation of funds, including the purported acceptance of $413,000 and 1.3 billion naira in bribes. Ganduje, who served as Kano State Governor from May 2015 to May 2023, has faced mounting pressure to resign from his position as the National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC. You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Still to come. Mixed reactions trail Naira's rebound against the dollar as commodity prices continue to fluctuate. Details and more after the break. Welcome back to the news. Let's take another look at our top stories. 45 persons reportedly died from a strange ailment that hit Kano community. Kaduna Assembly sets up committee to probe El-Rufai's expenditure. Now, intending Hajj programs in Plateau State are urging the National Hajj Commission to extend the deadline for completing their payments of the remaining 1.9 million naira balance. NACON had raised the fare for this year's pilgrimage to Saudi Arabia from 4.9 million naira to 6.8 million naira in March this year, causing financial strain for many intending pilgrims who were struggling to meet the deadline for the payment. Adu Musa has a situation report.
Shortly after announcing the increase of 1.9 million, the Commission set a deadline of 4 days for the intending pilgrims to complete their payment. However, many intending pilgrims did not pay the money before the expiry date, citing the short period given by the Commission to remit the balance. They also mentioned their inability to obtain the money before the deadline. Some intending pilgrims in the state who brought their balance to the State Muslim Pilgrim Welfare Board disappointed as NACOM refused collecting the money on the grounds that it had closed down the collection of the money and published a list of those participating in the 2024 Hajj. The affected persons appealed to NACOM to accept their balance and enlist them for the religious exercise. Honestly, we found ourselves in a difficult situation. When NACOM announced the increase, the period of time given to pay the balance was too short because we didn't have the money with us. Now we have struggled to get the money. I had to sell my properties to get the money. With all the effort I have made to get the money, they have refused to collect it. I'm not happy at all. I'm not happy at all. The government should look at the economic hardship we are facing. It is not easy to raise the money. We shouldn't be denied going to the Hajj. We have the balance with us, but they have refused to collect it. Responding on the development, the board's management stated that the issue did not originate from them, clarifying that they had announced a closure before the last day.
Really, I will not say there is another chance for those people. Why? Because the total number that was given to us from the National Health Commission was 1,345. But as the time goes on, we later have a communication after the increase of the Hajj fare. They dropped our slot allocation to Plateau State to 1,210. So automatically the pilgrims whom we are paying as safe sponsors and the government sponsors, they are more than the number that they have given to us now. So those who not pay their money or not completed, we have to tell them just to be patient. By God's grace, 2025 is around the corner.
The intending pilgrims, however, call on the government to prevail on NACOM to accept their balance and should list them for the exercise.
So, muna kira da gwamna wanda shine uba na farko a jaha.
We call on NACOM and Governor Caleb Mutfwan to intervene in this matter. We suffer before we got the money. The Hajj Commission should please pity us and collect the balance.
So, su dai muna son su ba mu gudumawa wajen taimakawa su ga cewa sun karɓi wannan kuɗin don su faranta mana rai.
And that is not good. But for us that got the money, they should please consider us and collect it. Although the board said those that were unable to pay their balance before the expiry date will miss this year's Hajj, the intending pilgrims are still appealing to the relevant authorities to consider them. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum has reaffirmed his commitment to providing more assistance to farmers across the state. Speaking at the flag-off ceremony of Nigeria's First Lady's Renewed Hope Initiative for Women Agricultural Support Program in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, Governor Zulum emphasized that his administration will continue to prioritize agriculture for development. As part of the initiative, 120 women farmers from the 6 northeast states received 500,000 each, while 100 others with disabilities received 100,000 naira each to revitalize their businesses. The First Lady, represented by the wife of the Vice President, Nana Kashim Shettima, stated that the gesture aims to empower women to contribute to the agricultural sector of the country. Governor Zulum also urged organizations to emulate such gestures to help combat unemployment among women and youths.
The Borno state government has given up topmost priority to the development of agriculture in the state, and that is why concerted efforts are made to mobilize both human and material resources to boost agriculture in the state. Towards this end, the state government has procured agricultural machinery and inputs such as tractors, chemicals, and fertilizers, among others. This, I believe, will go a long way in enhancing the productivity of farmers. Government is therefore poised to ensure that our farmers are assisted in every way to increase their agricultural productivity. I therefore appeal to the chairperson Hope Initiative, Renewed Hope Initiative, Agricultural Support Program to continue with the good work it is doing.
Renewed Hope Initiative state coordinators for onward disbursement to all beneficiaries in their respective states. These farmers are those in the agrarian sector, animal husbandry, poultry, and fish farming. In a short while, the Renewed Hope Initiative will be collaborating with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture to empower potential farmers. In this phase, 75% of the beneficiaries will be young farmers, young female farmers, while 25% will be for a young male farmers.
The rebound of the Nigerian naira against the dollar and other global currencies is reportedly causing a decline in the price of certain commodities in the domestic markets across the country. In Gombe State's main market, items such as sugar, noodles and rice are among those experiencing a price drop. However, some customers have voiced their dissatisfaction, claiming they have not noticed a significant change in the price of these commodities. They accuse wholesalers of selfishness, suggesting that they are not passing on the benefits of the currency rebound to customers. Hassan Koli has more.
Nigerians have been battling food inflation with an over 33% inflation rate last month. The rebound of naira against the dollar and the subsequent decrease in food commodities is a welcome development for many people who have been optimistic about seeing an end to recent hike in prices across the country. Most wholesalers in the market confirmed the reduction of some commodities, which they describe as a positive development. Sugar is one of the commodities that have registered a visible drop in price. Recently, the price of 50 kg bag of sugar has dropped from 85,000 naira to 78,000 naira, representing a decrease of 8.2%. This is commendable and good for us and our customers too. A carton of noodles have also dropped from 13,500 naira to 12,600 naira, and this is applicable to any brand of noodles. For commodities like salt, the price has stalled for the past 5 months, with traders with large stock of the product devising different strategies to sell them out. We are still buying 50 kg of salt at the rate of 14,500 naira from producers. The price remained unchanged in the last few months after a significant low patronage. we reduced the price to 13,500 naira. This means we are selling it at a loss of 1,000 naira per bag just to sell it out and continue with our business. Despite confirming the reduction in the price of the said commodities by wholesalers in Gombe market, some of the residents said they are yet to see any change in the price of commodities. We are aware of the recent reduction of sugar and noodles by the producers. However, there is nothing real in the market for us. I used to buy 1 measure of sugar at 2,700 naira last month, and I just bought it at the same price. Some traders are cruel to us. If it were an increase from the company, they will have increased it immediately. We are calling on them to be merciful to us.
Yes, and this morning I bought spaghetti at the rate of 660 naira, of which before I used to buy it 760, but now it's reduced with 100 naira price. So I think this is a welcome idea for Nigeria, and we pray that the prices will reduce more so that the common man will be able to afford the food for today.
For a long time now, Nigerians have repeatedly accused traders of artificially inflating the prices of commodities, an accusation the traders denied. According to National Bureau of Statistics, Nigeria's inflation rate jumped to 33.20% in March 2024, compared to the headline inflation rate for February 2024, which was at 1.70%. Hassan Laonkoli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Now, students from the Faculty of Dental Science at the University of Jos took to the streets on Monday to protest the delayed accreditation of their programs by the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria. The cause, according to the student, was a shortage of lecturers in the faculty. Now, the protesters are demanding that the university merge dental students with medical students to prevent further disruption to their studies due to the delayed accreditation. A student from the faculty who was part of the protesting students expressed frustration with the repetition of courses and non-standard teaching methods. The students cited the shortage of required manpower in the faculty as a reason their program has not been accredited despite several promises from the university management. Now to some of the day's other news stories. President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday inaugurated the steering committee of the National Single Window Project, which is aimed at easing activities at the ports from import to export. At a low-key ceremony at the State House in Abuja, the president described the project as a game changer, saying the project would help revolutionize the way trade is conducted by simplifying government compliance through a digital platform. From the State House, Kehinde Amodu reports.
The National Single Window Project is not just a technological advancement, but is a gateway to a more connected, efficient, and transparent system that will link ports, government agencies, and key stakeholders. It is obviously a pet project of President Tinubu, who sees it as a bold statement of government's commitment to progress, prosperity, and the well-being of every Nigerian. The president is, however, quick to admit that the implementation of the National Single Window Project will not be an overnight process, but will require dedication, collaboration, and a phased approach.
But I assure you, my fellow brothers and sisters, that we are fully committed to seeing this project through. We will work tirelessly to ensure its success, engaging all partner agencies and stakeholders to create a system that work for every one of us.
On paper, the initiative will serve as a catalyst for achieving an average GDP growth rate of 7% annually, propelling Nigeria to a new height of prosperity.
The National Single Window is not just a project, it is a symbol of our collective aspiration and our determination to build a better Nigeria. It is testament to our resilience, our ingenuity, and our unwavering belief in the potential of our great nation.
So it is a very important tool for trade facilitation. It's also helped us to manage revenue better. I used the term cross-border management earlier. So it's a tool that helps us to get the best of all the worlds, both the discharge of the customs mandate of revenue, anti-smuggling, and trade facilitation.
Currently, probably in a transaction, there are between 40 or so forms that you need to fill for various government agencies. So this is a platform that would enable you fill a few forms, reduce those forms to minimal possible numbers. And then, like you said, the payment system is easy. You make a payment and then it is disbursed to various beneficiaries of those payments. This is to improve ease of doing business, actually.
The success of the implementation plan will be hinged on unwavering commitment and collaboration of all stakeholders. Not only will it require strong government participation, but also engagement from all partner agencies. From State House Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
Well, let's bring you up to date with the latest in business. Here's Yusuf Akugu for today's business news. Welcome to Business News. I am Yusuf Akugu. The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission on Monday disclosed that Nigeria's oil and gas reserve grew marginally last year by 1.4% and 0.5%. The Commission, in its annual National Petroleum Reserves Position Report, disclosed that as at January 1st, 2024, oil reserves stood at 37.50 billion barrels compared to 36.966 billion in the corresponding period of 2023. The reserve is made up of crude oil at 31.56 billion barrels and condensate oil at 5.94 billion barrels. Speaking in Abuja, the Commission Chief Executive Gbenga Komolafe said the growth of oil and gas reserves came from the contributions from the development of brownfield, which were given out through the Marginal Field Awards. On the move to ensure that domestic refineries have enough crude oil for refining, Komolafe said a new template for domestic crude supply obligation has been released and has also become effective. The Nigerian Exchange Group and some listed companies have called for the interventions of the federal government to ease the challenges faced by the manufacturing sector in the country. This was part of the discussion during a closed-door session with the Minister of Trade, Industry and Investment, Doris Uzoka Anite, at the NGS headquarters in Lagos. Speaking at the meeting, the Group Chief Executive Officer of NGS Group, Umaru Kwairanga, said it was essential for the government to engage players in the capital market so that they can know the challenges and profile solutions to aid the listed companies. The Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of NGS Group, Temi Popola, maintained that the economy had seen the worst and that the outlook feels positive. Negative sentiment persisted on the equity segment of the NGS on Tuesday as more blue chip stocks joined the league of losers, causing investors' fortune to dip further. Let's see how it went down today. Some of the losing equities we have them Vitaform down 10% to close at 18 naira and 90 kobo per share. Fidelity Bank down 10%, 8 naira and 10 kobo percent. It also lost, 8 naira and 10 kobo. The prices of share closed there. LRX down 10% as well. 3 naira and 15 kobo. The share price ended on the day. Of course, this has dragged down the market by 1.04%. Volume of trade 403.889 million shares, value at 8.381 billion naira in a days of 10,170. The exchange has among investors this Tuesday. Of course, some of the top trading equities, Access Corporation leading the table there, 62.927 million shares traded. Jitco 47.382 million shares, and of course UBA 45.631 million shares indeed traded on the day as well. Seems there's a lot of sell up there in the banking segment of the market. Morrison leading the gaining equities there despite the negative closure of the market by 9.96% to close at 3 naira and 9 kobo per share.
Thomas Watt also 8.63% gain there, 2 naira and 14 kobo per share. It ended the day. Universal Insurance also not doing badly there in terms of the performance, 5.56%. They closed at 38 kobo per shares there. So the highlights of the stock trading as it went down on the floor of NJS this Tuesday. Let's see the global stock market for today. To the FX market, Naira held onto its bullish momentum against the US dollar and other major foreign currencies on Tuesday. Here are today's market data. Oil price lead for a second day on Tuesday as easing concern about supply risk and a rapidly escalating conflict after Iran's weekend attack on Israel. Offset data showing China's economy grew faster than expected in the first quarter of 2024. At the London market, European Brent sells for $89 per barrel. For the oil basket, price drops to $89 per barrel. And that's business. I am Yusuf Akubu.
Right, let's turn our attention now to developments on the international scene. 8 people believed to be law enforcement officers tasked with protecting aid have been killed in an Israeli army attack on their vehicle in Gaza. The attack took place in the Tufa neighborhood of eastern Gaza City. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabian Foreign Minister Faisal bin Farhan says de-escalation must be everyone's priority because the Middle East cannot afford another conflict. The United Nations Human Rights Office has in the meantime called on the Israeli security forces to immediately end the active participation in and support for attacks by Jewish settlers on Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. The statement follows a wave of settler attacks on Palestinian towns and villages in the West Bank, triggered by the weekend killing of a 14-year-old Israeli boy in what authorities say was an anti-Israeli attack. Time now for some sports. Here's the latest.
Ahead of the launching of his foundation, Nigeria Super Eagles assistant captain William Truce-Ekong has disclosed that he intends to invest some of his earnings in uplifting kids in his home state, decided to go further in giving back to kids in Akwa Ibom. Ekong, who was named the most valuable player of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations in Ivory Coast, has set up a foundation which is to be launched in Uyo in June 2024. According to the latest report from the camp of the PAOK Salonika defender, he decided to donate his future allowances and match bonuses to the development of kids in the state. His objective is to ensure that kids in the state achieve their aim. Head coach of the under-18 women's handball team, Shitu Agbola, has called on the sports ministry to support the team as they prepare for the women's under-18 handball world championship. The 10th edition of the championship is scheduled to be held from August 14th to 25th in Chuzhou, People's Republic of China. Nigeria have been housed in Group B alongside European giant Croatia, Montenegro and Angola, who fell to the coach Agbola to third side in the third place match of the 2023 African Under-18 Women's Handball Championship in Monastir, Tunisia. While admitting that his side had been drawn in one of the toughest groups, Agbola said Nigeria, who are the second best team globally at the IHF Women's Trophy 2023-2024, can qualify from the group but use the opportunity to call on the ministry to support the team. Nigeria's Under-18 Women's Handball team qualified for the World Championship for the first time in their history after a victory over Morocco in the quarterfinals of the African Under-18 Women's Handball Championship in Monastir, Tunisia last year. They lost to Egypt in the semi-finals but went on to finish third in the Nations Cup after beating Angola in the third-place match. The team comfortably dominated the IHF Women's Trophy in the African Zone 3 phase and Continental phase in Ghana and Congo-Brazzaville, respectively, before losing to Kosovo in the final of the IHF Women's Trophy in Intercontinental phase in Uzbekistan to finish second in the Global Championship. And that is sports. I am Emmanuel Fashimi.
Right, just before we go, the very latest from the ongoing UEFA Champions League quarterfinals. Barcelona has bowed out after losing to Paris Saint-Germain 4-1, as well as Atletico Madrid, who lost 4-2 to Borussia Dortmund. Well, that's our package for you tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us. As always, follow us across our social media platforms. Do visit our website, trusttv.com, for the latest news and documentaries. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. As always, thank you for your time and good night.